So you might be wondering how I discovered hypnotherapy and solution-focused psychotherapy and EFT. Well, it was something that came about because I actually had some therapy myself, and that was all because I was becoming really, really unhappy. I had a role that was based in London, and I was commuting 4 hours a day, and it just really started to take its toll before I realised I wasn't really kind of living life. Because of course with that long commute and busy workload, I found that all I could really ever think about was work, and in the week that's all I was doing was working or travelling to and from work. So over time I just became more and more anxious, and looking back now I think I was actually quite depressed. So I thought, well, I need to probably go and see somebody. I think the moment I realised that I was arguing with myself about whether I had the energy to get up on a Sunday and wash my hair, or, just try and see people. I knew I should go and see people and kind of connect with my friends and with my family, but at the same time I was so exhausted and tired and sad that I just didn't really have the energy. But it made me realise, I remember one Sunday, that something just had to change. So I spoke to a friend who had actually seen a therapist quite recently, and they gave me some really good feedback on them. I didn't really know much about them, but I'd seen the shift in my friend, so I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose, I'll give it a go. And I remember the first session I had, I think by the end of it I'd come to realise that it was really the role and the commute, going up and down the rail line 4 hours a day, and then just being constantly connected to my work, it just wasn't fulfilling me. So I decided that needed to change. I needed to find something else to do. And I remember the therapist just saying to me, he was really solution focused. For him, it was all about kind of getting me to a happier place, and a lot of that being around kind of the work that I do. He said, just go out there, you live in Brighton, just look around and see what's out there for you, have your eyes open, and just be really curious, and whatever kind of grabs your attention, just go and have a deeper look. And that's what I did. And I'd always thought about maybe kind of therapeutic role, or maybe something to do with advising young people, coaching, mentoring. So I wouldn't say I was particularly looking for that, but it kind of came up one day when I was looking at Living Social. They always advertise, courses and workshops in their personal development side. And I saw this course, and it was how to learn hypnotherapy to help yourself and others. And I thought, I don't really know much about hypnotherapy. I mean, we all hear about stage hypnosis all the time, and that worry that we're all going to get kind of turned into a chicken the moment we walk into a hypnotherapist's path. But that aside, I knew nothing about it. So I decided that I would go and try it out. So that weekend came, a beautifully sunny August weekend, and there was about 12 of us on the course, all different ages, all different walks of life, and we all had different reasons for being there. But I guess for all of us, it was just about nurturing our curiosity, because something had made us think, I think I need to know about this. So the beauty of the course was that it gave you a really basic understanding of how to do hypnosis, both for others and a bit of self-hypnosis for yourself. So we learned how to do a really basic, gentle and relaxing hypnotic induction, which is what just helps you get into trance. It's a bit like a guided meditation. And then to learn about some specific techniques to kind of just get yourself in a happier place and just enjoy just drifting away and just really kind of giving yourself a really lovely rest. Learning more about the mind and how it works, so the difference between our unconscious and conscious minds, and how different parts of the mind control the things that we do, the way that we think, our behaviour, and also a little bit as well about food. So, a lot of what we put into our bodies can affect our mind and how we think. Blood sugar levels crashing can always kind of make us a little bit grumpy. But really, over time, what effect is this having for us? So it was really holistic, and it was something that really kind of gave me that little buzz. I remember the butterflies in my stomach, and just being surrounded by complete strangers, but being so connected to something that was so new to us all, just felt really special. So I remember doing my feedback form a couple of days later just to kind of share how I felt about the course. And I do remember, like, I had a lot of goosebumps, which I think, well, for me, like, that's a really telling sign when you kind of get that prickly feeling. But also the fact that when I was writing out how I felt, it actually made me cry. And I think that was really because what I'd learned had completely resonated with me, and it's opened my eyes up to a completely new world that I really quite quickly felt really quite attached to and part of. And I think part of being on that course, it helped me to uncover a little part of myself that has maybe been covered up for a long time. So that in itself was a real eye-opener, and I think just goes to show when you're kind of on the conveyor belt of life. So you've gone through your education, you've gone through getting your first job, you're then finding yourself on a career path, and sometimes we don't have the opportunity to stop and think, God, is this actually what I want to do? Especially then, you're getting used to being paid a wage, and you've got aspirations to buy a house and everything, have a family. It's quite difficult then to think, but is this actually right for me? Is this job right for me that I'm doing? So it was really, really insightful for me. And I decided at that point to do the further training, the diploma in solution focused psychotherapy and hypnotherapy. And the beauty of this course was that, it was all around that working with the client, doing that solution focused therapy, which for me is really key, because when I'm working with a client, what I would love to see happen for them is that they transition into what it is that they want. So, sometimes things from the past, our beliefs that we hold about the world, bad memories, horrible things that have happened, it can affect then how we see the world and think differently about maybe what's out there for us. And so what my role is just to help you identify the things that are going to make you happier, that are going to give you that life that you desire, and look at chipping away and helping you to release those old memories, those old habits that just no longer serve you, that you don't want in your life, and just help you transition towards your goal. So whatever it is that you want to work on and to aspire to living, my role is just to help you and support you and identify what it is that you really need to do. So rather than just dwelling on the past and all the things that have happened, yes, we can acknowledge those, but it's really about then helping you to release the things from the past, but moving you forward and just helping you to change that mindset so that you have a happier future, and one that you're going to really love. And so that's where then the hypnosis comes in, because hypnotherapy is all around being in trance, and trance is the optimal learning state. That's really where we, as young children, so from when we're in the womb to around the ages of 6 to 7, that's when we're like a little sponge, and as we just see the world for the first time, when we're learning from our parents and from our peers and from our families, that's where we just start to learn instinctively about the world around us, and what it is to be a little human being. So when you're learning all of these things, you're in the trance state, you're being programmed, and that's why hypnosis is so effective, because you're going back into the part of the mind, the subconscious mind, where all of your programming has taken place. And what hypnosis does is it just helps you to reprogram, but it does it really quite gently, because you're in this really relaxed state, but also it's all based around what you want. So the moment we will have talked about the things that you really want from life, and then that then tailors and personalizes the hypnosis for you. So everything that you've told me, that then just becomes incorporated into the trance work that we do. So then you can when you come away from the hypnosis and the whole session, you can then just start to see how your mind is starting to think about things a little bit differently. And for you, you're just going to start to experience life in a different way, and in a way then that kind of opens you up to further possibilities and opportunities. So it's really fast, it's really effective, but at the same time it's really gentle. It's not, I think when we think about therapy, sometimes we can think about, got that image of someone just lying on a sofa, talking to a counsellor, you know, really feeling emotion, feeling really down, feeling really sad. And it doesn't have to be like that. And for me, that was a kind of a hugely important point when kind of coming into this work, is to make sure that I do give you something where you feel that you've really experienced a change, but you've felt a huge release, like a weight has just been lifted. It's hugely powerful, and to be able to see you just walk away having experienced that release and that shift, and that change of mind, is just the most wonderful thing to see. So that's why, you know, I really I'm an advocate for solution-focused psychotherapy and hypnotherapy, because I see the changes that it brings, and it brings them so quickly. The other thing that I also do is emotional freedom technique, which is EFT, and that is called also tapping. And tapping is all based on the energy system of our meridians. So the energy that's in our bodies travels through our meridians, and this is the same framework that acupuncturists use. So they'll tune in to bring relief to the body and the mind. They'll use the needles in different points of the meridian to bring about that release for you. And tapping is very similar, although of course we don't have the needles. But basically, when we go through different things, so when we maybe have a little trauma or a really bad memory, or just a horrible experience, what tapping does is it just tunes you into the energy and to the blocked emotion that sits somewhere within your body. And together I just help you release it. So I can teach you how to tap on yourself so that you can go about bringing around these changes in between sessions. But also it's around just making sure that I'm there to support you, just to release this old stuff that you don't need anymore. And I love it. We used to use tapping a lot actually in the hypnotherapy and psychotherapy course, especially before exams, before kind of supervision, because, you know, we all had little worries and nerves as well. And, you know, I could see it was working for us all. So being able to then learn EFT was absolutely fantastic, and it works really nicely with solution-focused therapy and hypnotherapy. It's a brilliant tool. So when I'm working with clients, I really love the fact that I get to choose which tool I can use to support you based on exactly what you need at the time. So it could mean using different tools at different sessions and at different points, but it's just something that, yeah, it's so fast. And I can just, you know, in a session I can see a client who's come in, you know, can be really quite down at times because, you know, what they're going through, or maybe they've just carried this weight on their shoulders for so long. So then just to see the release as we're working through it together, and to be able to just hold that space so that they can process whatever it is that they need to process, and doing it so ever so gently, it's just really special. And to then just see them kind of float out of the room and just feel free of all of that old stuff is just brings me real joy. So, you know, that's a little bit about how I've kind of discovered hypnotherapy and psychotherapy and EFT, and a little bit about why I just really love using them as tools to bring about change that's going to help you live a wonderful life.